Professor Dr. Jayapal Asarya is a former director, School of Life Sciences, and former professor and head, Department of Zoology, University of Madras. He has more than 40 years of teaching experience at the university level. He holds a PhD degree in marine science and has contributed extensively in the area of coastal zone management. He was also educated at the Duke Marine Laboratory, North Carolina, USA. He is the first Indian to receive, since 1920, the prestigious international award from the Plymouth Marine Laboratory, UK, for the year 1991. He was invited to deliver keynote address in the first, second, third and fourth World Conferences in bioethics in Spain. He is active in promoting international bioethics by way of serving as the president of Asian Bioethics Association and as an associate editor in UBO's Journal of Asian and International Bioethics, Japan, and International Society of Bioethics, Spain. He is a co-editor of the Living Dictionary of Bioethics. He has presented and published more than 100 research papers. 38 research students have received the doctorate degree under his guidance.
Welcome to UGC lecture series on environmental science, and we have been thinking about resource management, resource utilization, and we also thought about how the word ecosystem is involved. And the ecological system has two words, ecology and systems, and we have defined ecology as the house, that is, it has a structure and a function. The function is, it is a outcome of functional output of home, and in this lecture we will talk about what is a system. So, when you combine both, you have a total picture about ecosystem. So, the topic of today's lecture is ecosystems, and we will see what is a system. And the lecture covers systems ecology. It is a new approach to study ecological phenomena. And what makes a system? System has components, and these components are independent and interactive with each other. Reasons for why we cannot make a system with single component. Pursuit of, then a major outcome of a system analysis is the pursuit of happiness. So, we have the difference between aim and a goal. So, this is ecology plus system is ecosystem. So, these are the aspects we have studied, and I want to present before you the earth that we see is a system of systems. A biosphere has a single system, but it also has many systems. So, all these systems interact with each other and make a functional output. Functional output is ecobalance. So, we use the word commonly ecosystem. So, we have to find out what makes a ecological system working as a viable, sustainable ecological balance mechanism. The three main aspects of the word is made up of two words, as I said, ecological and a system. So, ecosystem, simply we will say ecosystem. When you say ecosystem, it means ecological system, and when you say ecological system, there are two thoughts involved in it. One is ecology, that we have seen structure and function of nature, and system is what is a system and what is the functional output of a system. So, the main aspects are we have studied. So, we will go into the system. The system is a very commonly used day to day language. We use educational system, reproductive system, digestive system, and government system, and panchayat system. So many systems. So, we must know what we mean by systems. So, what is system? System is first an organized unit, organized set. Set is a mathematical word where there is more than one number. So, organized is not abstract, is not distributed in a random, but is organized in a particular way, in a hierarchical way. So, we think, and the system has got components, and I am advocating the point that we use the word components rather than that other words can be used as units, factors, or parameters. Units, factors and parameters are other words, but out of these 3 words we will use the word component. So, the first point we should understand is system is a set and it has got components, and these components are not simply randomly distributed, but they are organized. And for instance, a watch is a system, where what you wear as a watch is a system. It has got number of components organized in a particular manner to have a functional output of showing time. So, system has got an organization. So, that is what the first point we have to find out. We have seen that in environmental ethics, the individual is a part of the whole set, and different features of environmental ethics has come a single aim, that which is individual is member of a community of independent parts. So, the parts are independent and they come together in an arrangement or organization, and they are members of a community. So, the following question is why we cannot make a system with one component. So, that you keep it in your mind, we will answer it later. So, the components features of the components are they are independent units, they are not simple units, but they are independent by themselves. They have if you take about an atom has got within a subsystem. So, they are independent. So, the first point is the independent, and they are interactive. All this is components interact with each other, interactive, and they are interdependent. One depends on the other. So, in order to make a system, if I ask a question, how many parts do you need to make a system? The answer could be anything, but the correct answer would be we need more than 2 components, or we need at least 2 components. That will make a system. So, means more. So, 2 components are needed. We cannot make a system with only one component. So, we can mathematically find out why we cannot make a system with one component. So, they regularly interact. They do not work now, but they work lifelong. So, they regularly interactive, forming a unified whole. They all work together and they form a set. And so, I will discuss later what we mean by the word aim and what we mean by the word common aim and a aim. And so, they have a all the parts have a common aim. So, in the analogy of the watch, all the parts have the common aim of showing time. If one part says I do not want to work with each other, then that function output of showing time will not work. So, we have to throw out the system of watchmaking. So, the other important phrase that I want to put as the aim of the ecology is pursuit of happiness. It has place in the American Declaration of Independence about 2 centuries ago, to the main theme of utilitarian philosophers. Utilitarian philosopher is on pursuit of happiness. I will show you a little later how the utilitarian philosophers worked on this major theme. So, the earth and the one human species that can be happy. So, among the earth we have only one species that can be happy, though we do not know whether animals are happy or not, but we are definitely need to be happy. So, biodiversity is essentially the variety of life on the earth. So, more number of species, more variables are there. So, violation of the structure and function of a species, there is going to be disruption of ecobalance. So, this is then it is a different species will work together for making the system a functional output. So, in the Vedic system of life, they found that Sunyam means space, Anantam is happiness, and that means Anantam, another meaning of Anantam is eternity. If the 2 basic principles, if you live for eternity, when you will be happy in life, this is a Vedic principle. Larger is the scale is, the greater is the meaning of life. So, there are 2 important concepts in Vedic principles. So, I am going back to the 1776, the American independence. To if you read it carefully, it says there is a essentially declarations are made about the individual human species. Its stature grew over the years, particularly in the second sentence, the sweeping statement of individual human rights. So, it says, the last line says that all men are equal, all men have the right to have a pursuit of happiness. Pursuit of happiness, happiness is a major aim of ecology. So, the pursuit of happiness. So, I am going to trace that word pursuit of happiness. So, in the American Independence Declaration, life, liberty and pursuit of happiness is one of the most famous phrases used in the United States Declaration of Independence, and it says that every person has got life, liberty and the pursuit of happiness. All men should be happy. That is why it said ecology is the maximum good for maximum number of people. So, the three aspects of listed below is unalienable rights or sovereign rights of man, which is John Locke is a philosopher, and he said emphasis on pursuit of happiness. So, another John Stuart Mill is also known as a utilitarian philosopher. Utilitarian philosophy based on morality, what is right and wrong behavior, as leads to happiness. This is it says is moral theory and is most important work on utilitarianism, which is based on happiness. So, utilitarianism is a philosophical theory. As I told you earlier, ecology can be studied from a philosophical viewpoint also. It is a philosophical theory, normative ethics holding that proper right and wrong actions are one that maximizes utility and specifically defined as maximizing happiness and reducing suffering. So, ecology is mainly concerned about how to provide happiness, how to reduce human suffering. So, that is why one of the millennium point is millennium goals are one of the goal is that it should be reduce poverty. So, in the ecology book written by Odom, the first line says that fundamentals of ecology, the pursuit of happiness. The pursuit of happiness is one of the aim. So, we have to find out the difference between aim and goals. So, what is an aim? What is the goal? I am using a picture of the football match. The football match has an aim. So, if I ask you what is the aim, some people will say that main aim is not to score goals, main aim is not to win the game, main aim is to receive the cup. So, when you have the main aim, then you will have a main aim of receiving the cup, then you will score more goals, you will win the match. So, that will be the. So, when you fix an aim, then all the things will fall in the line with each other. The aim is started with some other person higher up in the hierarchy, and aim is measurable, goals are measurable, system has got a boundary. So, the boundary has a time limit and we play within a certain time. So, there are rules and regulations in the systems. So, that is very important. So, the last word is one system, one aim, one system, one aim. And the point I want to emphasize here is there is no word like aims, but goals are there, but there are no word like aims. So, that is if you have too many aims in one system, system will not work. So, one aim and recording of a prey is one aim of recording only. So, now we come to the same question, why we cannot make one component as a system. So, it is a formula, we can understand the nature of relationships. This is x into x minus 1. This is the formula that we are going to use to find out the relationships. The x is the number of components, and x into x minus 1 tells you what type of relationships are there. Now, I worked out an answer. The answer is 0. X into x minus 1 is equal to 0. So, I want you to find out what is the x stands for, what number of components. Can you find out? And the component is, if you can think properly and the answer, work out the answer is 1. Simple formula x into x minus 1 gives you the type of relationship. Now, we will have a small break. Welcome back to the UGC lecture series on environmental science. We have been thinking what makes a system, and the system is a set, and the set has got number of components. So, we are now going to find out what is the understanding on relationships, nature of relationship among the components. So, the formula that we will be considering is x into x minus 1 is a simple formula, where x stands for the number of components. I repeat again, the formula that we are going to use is x into x minus 1, and where x is the number of components. So, as I said, is a system has got components. So, number of components determine the systems. So, I have worked out a sum where x into x minus 1 is equal to 0, x minus 1 is equal to 0, that is the outcome. And can you find out what number stands for x? And if you work it out, it will be 1. If you have a one component, if one component, the outcome is 0. So, 1 into 1 minus 1 is 0. So, anything multiplied by 0 is 0. So, if your component is alone in an ecosystem, there will be no functional output. So, that is why we are emphasizing the point that components are interrelated, although they are independent, they are interacting with each other and they are independent. If there are 3 components, what is the relationship? I will show you now the types of relationship. If there is one component, I showed you here, the 1 minus 1, the one component outcome is 0. If there are 3 components, 3 minus 1 is 2, 2 into 3 is 6. If there are 4 components, 4 minus 1 is 3, 3 into 4 is 12. So, you see that the increase in number 6, it is not 8 or 10, but once you increase one component, the interaction is 12. So, now I will figuratively show it to you. If there are 2 components, if there are 2 here, 2 minus 1 is 1, 1 into 2 is 2. So, that if you have 2 components A and B, so B interacts with A, that is one component, one relationship, then A relates to B, that is the second relationship. So, if there are 2 components, there are 2 interactions. If there are 3, here are 2, here is 2, 4 and there is 2. So, 6 components. If there are 4, you can see the components increase in number A, B and C and D. So, this is very complicated. So, that is why in ecological systems we never find more than a limited number of components. There are not larger systems, there are only 4 or 5 links in an ecosystem. So, this is a ecological principle as well as an economic principle. In economics, if we have a middleman, too many middlemen from the producer to the consumer, then the price of the article increases, then the quantity of the article decreases. So, we are to avoid middlemen and encourage the direct purchase from the A to B. So, this is one of the important feature of systems. So, now on this basis we will call system is a simple system. This one A and B is a simple system, B and C, A, B, C is a little complex system, and so we have a simple system as well as a complex system. Then we also have 2 types of systems, closed system and open system. A closed system is one where there are no input from outside, all self contained. So, that is a closed system. And do you think earth is a closed system or open system? It is a closed system in the sense that nothing comes out, nothing goes out except energy that comes in. Sometimes meteorites and comets can come into the system, but they are burnt in the ozone layer. So, simple system and complex system, and it is better to have a simple system, a small group and big group. So, in a small group there is more interaction, and big groups interaction is very less. So, now I have got applications of the systems analysis to real life. So, when you have a biotic and abiotic, it is biosystems. So, now I am going to talk to you about what is the outcome. So, the component C is the outcome. Outcome is biosystems is biological system, and we have a student teacher relationship. Can you think of what it is? I will leave the answer little now, and the next slide I will show you what is the one that definitely it is not knowledge. Student and teacher interaction does not lead to knowledge. You do not need a teacher to have a knowledge, you need a computer. Then the next one is man and woman in marriage, it is not child. We can have a child without man himself now. Then acid and alkali, and also we have lemon and salt. They are two different components, and they mix it together, they have a different output. And call and off in the normal life, call and off, the system is always created. The next slide I will show you that if you combine biotic and abiotic, the outcome is biological system or biosystems. A teacher and a student, when they join together and work interaction, the teacher is independent, student is independent, but they are interdependent. Without a teacher, there is no student. Without a student, there is no teacher. So, both are independent as well as interdependent. So, when the relationship between them is one is a learner, other one is a teacher, and they have a interactive session as a component. So, what is outcome? Outcome is not knowledge, but outcome is learning. Learning is change of direction. Then we have in marriage, it is not child, it is family. Then lemon and salt, we have pickle. Oxygen and hydrogen, we have water. Sulfur and oxygen, we have sulfur dioxide. Call and raw is withdraw, and God and human, eternal bliss, Vedic thought. Purusha and Prakriti, nature, we have nature. So, there are systems within the systems. There are characteristics of global oikos and universe, and the presence of a hierarchy within a global oikos is universal phenomena, which stretches from the biological system, where we have kingdom, animal kingdom, plant kingdom, phylum, classification, classes, family, order, genus, species. This is a hierarchy, one leads to other. So, the final question is the universe wherein there is a hierarchical system of cosmic rays reflecting the hierarchical structure of processes. So, if you say the radiation structure, there are systems, there are hierarchy, microwave, gamma wave, microwave, long radio waves and long waves. So, there is a hierarchical system, and that leads to various functional output. So, inherent property of system is oscillation. So, they have a mean and equilibrium with regular oscillations about that is what ecosystem is. So, exhibits upper and lower boundary, and this system is incorporated into the way of life. So, in the Vedic principles, they have a weekly cycle that every Wednesday or every Tuesday or Friday they had Viradam. Viradam is willful abstinence of food or willingly lead to fasting. On Sundays we have payasam. So, this alternate way of living makes the system healthy. So, that is what happens in the ecosystem. It is a pulsating system, which I will show you in the next lecture. It is a pulsating system oscillating between a mean. So, when you oscillate between a mean, your body, you remain healthy, and the pursuit of happiness is always there. When you are not sick, you become very healthy. So, but we also have a yearly cycle. The yearly cycle is that we have a Bogi Pongal, where you burn your unwanted waste in the environment, but it also pollutes the environment. But the cycle, we have at least once in a year you clean your house, you make the restitution of the dirt and make it very healthy. And also we have animal response to animal, the animals that help you to live a life. Like cattle, we have a Matu Pongal, and the instruments that you use daily in your life, we have Ayuda Puja. So, at least once in a year we give importance to the removal of the waste, give importance to the animal life, and also we give importance to the instruments that we use, vehicles that we use. So, the way the Ayurvedic is always life oriented knowledge. So, if you take the body through an oscillating system, this ups and downs, and ancient religious tradition is one of the themes of Gaia. So, it has practical implications to pursuit of happiness. So, we have to think about not eating all the time, not starving all the time, but eating and starving must go hand in hand. So, the system becomes effective in its nature. So, the final summary is that some system is a set, it is not a set of components, and system has got a structure. System has got a structure. When there is a structure, there is a function. Structure and function go together, and when a system is made up of components, and these components cannot we cannot make a system with one component. So, the basic ecological rule is live alone and like it. No man will live alone, like we always live in terms of something else, some other relationship. Either we learn to live in terms of our university, or in terms of our family, or in terms of our friends, or in terms of our happiness. So, this is very important. So, the question that we can ask is, what is a system? Have you answered the question? System is a set. How many components do you need to make a system? The answer is more than 2. We cannot make a system with one. So, the ecological principle is live alone and like it is a. So, you have to explain why we cannot live alone and like it. So, the final structure is about is a moon, and we have to live cosmic eccentric life of work is going to be a good effective system, and we will definitely pursue happiness. Thank you very much.